Great Chefs of the East, the Louisiana New Guard, and Great Chef Southwest Taste. A $120 value for only $90.50, including shipping and handling. Send your order and check to Great Chefs, Great Cities. P.O. Box 56637, New Orleans, Louisiana 70156. Or call 1-800-600-2402 today.
Let the Discovery Channel be your connection to the Internet. It's simple and the first month's free. Connect to Discovery Channel online. Call 1-800-554-4008 and you'll receive our free online startup kit. Call now to connect to the past and the future. Connect to places you've only dreamed of. Connect to people who share your passions. Call now and make the connection for our free trial offer. Discovery Channel Online. Connect.
What good are wrinkle-free pants without a wrinkle-free shirt? Now during the JCPenney Father's Day sale, all our Stafford Executive wrinkle-free dress shirts are on sale, including solids at $24.99 and stripes for just $27.99. So for the best value on wrinkle-free dress shirts, hurry to the JCPenney Father's Day sale. After all, what good is a wrinkle-free dress shirt without an affordable price? JCPenney.
This is the idea. 2 lights in one. This is how we made it work. The Ever-Ready 2-Way light. It's a flashlight and a lantern. Another bright idea from Ever-Ready.
On the Discovery Channel, the Popular Mechanics Show.
I'm Ted Reinstein, and this is the Popular Mechanics Show.
Cut and roll.
It's innovative, it's techy, it's 5 days a week.
Next, 5 Eastern, 4 Central. On the Discovery Channel.
From the pages of Popular Mechanics magazine, a look at the SeaQuest submarine, working with pesticides, and America's workhorse of the skies, the B-52, plus a step back in time to the 1930s and building the Grand Coulee Dam. That's all on this edition of the Popular Mechanics Show.
Welcome to the Popular Mechanics Show. I'm Ted Reinstein. We'll be flying high on this edition of the show with radio-controlled planes. Home improvement expert Ron Hazelton will show us how to maintain your drains, and auto artist Paul Zangari will be along with a detailed demo of exterior detailing. But first, we go down under. Not to Australia, but underwater. Amazingly, the first unmanned submersible ship was launched in merry old England back in 1620 on the Thames River. Well, submarines have come a long way since that experimental model. A Canadian vendor has even made a one-person sub you can tool around in wearing your street clothes. Meet the SeaQuester. Peter Mitten is a Canadian living in Maple Ridge, British Columbia. He's an inventor, and this is his pride and joy. A one-person, one-atmosphere submersible called the SeaQuester. It's on its way to the local lake for an outing. There aren't many submarines that can be towed along the highway on a boat trailer, but Pete wanted to build a vessel that was user-friendly in the extreme. It can be hauled, launched, and operated by one person, and it puts Pete on and in the water, where he most wants to be.
I built a submarine because I like to spend time underwater, and I can spend more time, more comfortably, in a submarine. I've built 99% of it, aside from motors, high-pressure tanks, regulators, cameras. The physical structure that you look at, I built myself.
Pete's prototype SeaQuester travels at about 3 knots on the surface and more than 5 knots underwater. It's capable of reaching depths of up to 130 feet. When the production models are on the assembly line, they'll reach speeds of more than 7 knots underwater. And some models will dive up to 300 feet and deeper. The sub-safety features include 3 independently controlled motors, 2 methods of steering, manual air control for buoyancy, and that old standby, the rear-view mirror.
I use a rear-view mirror on this as underwater at 7 knots, you like to keep your hands and eyes on the wheel. I have to communicate with a diver that I tow, and I can quickly glance in the rearview mirror and do this. This provides an adequate measure of safety as things come up rather quickly at 7 knots, and one must keep his eyes dead ahead.
The SeaQuester's 3 thrusters give it great speed and mobility underwater. It has a separate pressure vessel for the high-tech all-positional batteries that work at any angle, and for comfort, air conditioning. In the shop, Pete is working on another sub that will look a lot like his prototype, but it will have greater speed, greater depth capabilities, and much longer duration.
The exoskeleton of the submarine is right here. It's the outer shell, exactly the same color, iceberg white, as the SeaQuester series. All I have to do is lift apart from the mold, lift apart from the bottom half mold, put the two on top of each other, and I now have the second in the series. In order to make a two-person vessel, I cut it apart at the center, I stretch it 4 feet. I now put 2 pressure vessels in it, one facing forward, one facing aft, and I have the two-person version of the SeaQuester.
There will be 3 different models in the SeaQuester series Pete is working on. The basic model for recreational divers will have 1 thruster and submerge to 50 feet. Suggested price is $49,000. The intermediate model will have 3 thrusters and submerge to 130 feet. Suggested price, $85,000. And the advanced SeaQuester will come equipped with sonar and underwater communication systems. Its suggested price is $125,000. Pete's also eager to build 2-person subs.
I'm speaking with some fellows right now who are very interested in the 2-person version of this. I'm looking for the capitalization to market and manufacture, and if this works out, I'll be building the 2-person vessel.
Investors are already interested in Pete's products.
We met Pete Minton about a year ago. He was introduced to us through a financial services company here in Vancouver. At that time, we were very interested in his product that he had, and subsequent to that, we brought in some experts. The person that I brought in from the East Coast was a business partner of mine. He had roughly 25 years experience in the diving naval industry. He's an ex-Navy diver himself. He looked at the product inside out. He talked to Pete in great detail about his design, about all the technology that is part of the SeaQuester, and he was totally impressed with the whole concept.
I believe this is a great time to be marketing a vehicle like this. We're going to be going underwater, and the more and more time we spend underwater, the more we realize we need a vehicle like this.
Pete says marine biologists could use the SeaQuester for night research. Surveyors building bridges could use it for underwater documentation. Filmmakers could use it for underwater sequences. And he envisions security professionals working underwater in shifts of up to 8 hours and more.
The ability to be able to take the owner or an engineer down into 160, 180 feet of water to look at exactly what he's getting for a product is just absolutely amazing. What he needs to do is to make his first sale. I think once the product gets out in the field, I would almost guarantee it will take off.
So what does Pete have planned for his next invention?
At the moment, I'm not thinking too far into the future with other inventions. This is a full-time career at the moment, and I fully enjoy it.
Americans have always been fascinated with great design. It must be the Rube Goldberg in all of us. And here at the Popular Mechanics Show, we like to salute those efforts that stand out.
The new 4-Wind Stable V boat design is a little like piloting a boat with Corvette handling and a limousine ride. Makers claim the design is one of the most significant innovations since the inception of the Deep V hull. The boat planes quickly, even during cornering, which is flat and predictable. Traditionally, Deep V hulls ride smoothly through waves, but roll excessively from crosswinds, waves, and movement inside the boat. Flat-bottom boats are basically stable platforms, but they ride very harshly over waves. The Stable V combines the best of both designs. Active pods are placed aft of the transom on either side of the engine. The pods extend the running surface of the boat. They move the center of lift back. and behave like built-in trim tabs to limit bow rise, improve planing time, and make kneeboarding and tubing more comfortable. The boat's fuller dead rise begins at the transom and increases very gradually to a point just forward of the helm. This creates a larger footprint on the water, which makes the craft more stable. Stable V also features the maximum chine beam distribution with a unique reverse angle design. This gives the vessel greater buoyancy and hydrodynamic lift and helps minimize spray. A stepped hull also reduces drag on the boat. All in all, the new design makes boating exhilarating even for the greenest of sailors.
Still ahead on the Popular Mechanics Show, those magnificent radio-controlled flying machines. And when we come back, Lawn and Garden Pro Mark Tobin shows us how to deal with unwanted garden guests.
What is the maximum fuel capacity of a Boeing 747-400 passenger plane? A, 17,238 gallons, B, 28,300 gallons, C, 57,285 gallons, or D, 80,000 gallons? The answer when the Popular Mechanics Show continues.
Catch it, daytime.
Home improvement.
Decorating.
Household projects. Do it yourself. Save money.
Good idea.
Explore your world. Daytime.
On the Discovery Channel.
You can just pick up a Napa part and feel the quality. When you look at the price, it feels even better.
Pick up your share of quality products at Napa's Red, White, and Blue sale. With Napa motor oil, only 89 cents a quart. Contoured style bug shields for a low $29.99. And a combo pack of no-touch tire and wheel cleaners, just $2.99 after rebate. So come, save some green at Napa's Red, White, and Blue sale.
America running.
What can you do to prevent this gray?
Introducing Thompson's Water Seal Wood Finish Colors. Natural wood tones block gray, and the waterproofing power of Thompson's protects the wood. Thompson's is protection.
It's a trip to paradise, and this man has lost his vacation money. And so has he. This man was carrying cash. But he insisted on American Express traveler's checks. So while he had nobody to turn to, this man called the people at American Express as he tried to contact someone back home. With just one phone call, American Express can refund your lost or stolen traveler's checks just about any time, any place. Don't take chances. Take American Express traveler's checks.
From Eureka Technology, the Victory Clean Air System for powerful cleaning above the floor and on carpets. It's on the sleek Powerline and faster cleaning Powerline Plus. With state-of-the-art design that reduces bending. Powerline Plus, only from Eureka.
Tonight on Wild Discovery. What you didn't expect. Take a bite out of this. Watch out. Cute and furry snake killers. African animals on Wild Discovery. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on the Discovery Channel.
Supermarkets come and go, but Nemmens has been in the community for over 75 years. People have grown to trust Nemmens in every function of supermarketing. Savings. We maintain the lowest across-the-board pricing on all products, plus double value on manufacturer's coupons, too. Quality. Year after year, we've earned and maintained the reputation of carrying the very best. Service. Nemmens expects the very best from our employee owners. For you, our valued customer. Thank you for shopping Nemmens.
Get ready. Let's go. This June, Cinemax kicks into action. This is great. Quick, risky adventures. One way ticket to another land. And suspense-filled dramas. The timeless classics you dream about.
I'm yours to command in all things.
And laughs that'll knock you over. Plus, a new premiere every Friday night. Welcome. So get ready for Cinemax in June. The summer of 1,000 movies starts here.
What's the fuel capacity of a Boeing 747-400 passenger plane? The answer is C. The tank holds up to 57,285 gallons of fuel. That includes the reserve tank, which holds a mere 3,300 gallons. The 747-400 averages about 8,300 miles on a tank of fuel. That's nearly 7 gallons per mile. Maybe your car's mileage isn't so bad after all.
Keeping your lawn pest-free is a formidable challenge for the home groundskeeper, especially in an era of environmental awareness, plus safety concerns about pesticides. Lawn and garden expert Mark Tobin suggests a modern arsenal of safer weapons for you to do battle with the bugs.
If you're like most gardeners, you hate it when the bugs are feeding on your trees or shrubs. Sooner or later, you end up down at the garden center to look for a remedy. I thought it would be interesting today to take a look at what's new and what's available at home. One of the neatest and best improvements they've made in insecticide isn't a change. It's in formulation. What they've done is dilute the product for you, and it's all set to go. These are called RTU, or ready-to-use formulations. And what they avoid is one of the largest problems that many home gardeners encounter, and that's improper mixing of pesticides. Too often the label will call for 1 teaspoon. Many folks figure, well, 2 will do the job twice as well, and 3 will be just right. Wrong. What happens is you're wasting material, you could poison yourself or the environment, and you may even hurt your plants. We've had to go in and replace entire landscapes that were damaged by folks not following label directions. If you buy a ready-to-use formulation, it'll save you 1 headache. In response to environmental concerns, there have been some new products put out based with soaps. The potassium soaps are fatty acids, and they work just on contact. So if you apply it, it'll kill whatever insects are there feeding on the plants, but it won't bother beneficial insects that might creep back in 1 or 2 days later. That'll help keep the bad guys under control. So they're really something to think about. In old-fashioned products that's become very popular again are the oil sprays. They're highly refined oils that, when applied to the plants, suffocate insects and then disappear. So they also have the benefit of letting the good guys come back in and live on your plants. Really neat stuff to think about purchasing if you have problems with grubs or root weevils are nematodes. Nematodes are microscopic worms that you'd mix up with water and apply to the soil. They then hunt around in the soil, find the insect, crawl inside, have babies, and turn the insect into a little nursery and remove the insect problem. Nematodes have a couple of challenges when you go to use them. The soil needs to be kept moist, and the pH needs to be in an appropriate range. So check with a garden center in your area, and they'll let you know if a nematode is something you may be able to use in your yard. If you'd like to control mosquitoes, and who wouldn't, I've got a really neat alternative idea for you, and that's to install a bat house in your yard. And we don't mean have Batman and Robin move in with little laser guns to shoot them, but it's really a little mini cave that will give bats a place to nest. And at night, when the bats are out flying around, they can eat their entire body weight in mosquitoes each night. So if you could get a few hundred bats flying around, that's quite a few bugs that won't be there to bite you. These should be installed on the east side of your property or on a house or a tree so that they'll get some morning sun, but not bake in hot afternoon sun, which would heat the little critters up in here that'll be sleeping during the daytime. Underneath there's a narrow opening so that the bats would fly in the bottom, hang out up top all day, and they'll be out at night keeping bugs under control. So if you have an insect problem at your house, make sure it's identified properly, buy the material that's the least toxic, and mix it properly. If you follow those 3 hints, you should have no problem keeping the place in very good shape.
The VCR has been around for a while, and if you haven't yet figured out how to successfully program yours, you may be too late. New technologies like laser discs are racing to take over the home markets, and while the VCR isn't yet a relic, it may soon be.
VCR. Some people think it stands for very confusing remote. And that can happen. Today we're going to talk about VCRs and Laserdisc players. Let's get started with VCRs, shall we? When you go to a store like this, you'll notice there are lots of models to choose from. And there are a lot of differences between them. But the first biggest difference you're going to notice between a top-of-the-line model and a basic VCR is price. In this case, about $800. Let's start with this one. For a couple $100, your basic VCR is going to have 4 video heads. That just means the picture will be nice and clear when you pause the tape or if you scan it forward or back. It's also likely to have mono sound, which is good, but it's not as nice as hi-fi stereo. Oh, remember this?
Before you walk out of the store with any VCR, try the remote. It should be easy to use and do what you want it to do. You're going to use it more than any other part of the VCR. The next step? Hi-Fi. Most of the movies you rent and a lot of TV shows have stereo soundtracks. Plug this unit into your stereo at home and take full advantage of that improved sound. Go up another level and you add programming features. Have you ever noticed the little series of numbers that follow the program listings in most television viewing guides? VCR Plus uses those numbers to make it easy to find the programs you want. What's that? You already own a VCR or maybe a camcorder? Then you probably want to do some duplication or maybe basic editing. Am I right? In that case, look for a VCR with front panel connectors for audio and video. Makes it easy to wire up the system. A jog shuttle control makes it simple to find where you want to start and stop recording. And a flying array set makes sure that when you go from scene to scene, there's none of that unsightly speckling of noise on the tape. And now, the top shelf. When you reach the top shelf, you'll find an SVHS or Super VHS VCR. This one has all the features the others had. Hi-fi stereo sound, easy programming, and the ability to make duplicates and do simple editing. In addition, its picture's 50% sharper than regular VHS. Isn't that amazing? Speaking of sharpness, if you're a movie buff, you may want to consider a Laserdisc player. As a matter of fact, they have all the picture sharpness of a Super VHS VCR and compact disc quality hi-fi stereo sound, which is a good thing because they also play CDs. One important step-up feature on Laserdisc players is the ability to play both sides of the disc automatically. Other Laserdisc players may allow you to load 5 compact discs at once and use it as a CD changer. What's the trade-off with Laserdiscs? You can't record, but they're still pretty cool. And pretty much any VCR Laserdisc player will help you get the most out of your TV.
When we come back, Ron Hazelton goes up on the roof to do a little eavesdropping, and later the B-52 Stratofortress stays alive. Stay with us.
The Volvo 850 Turbo and the brand new BMW 328i. 0 to 60, anyone? How about a quarter mile? The ultimate driving machine outdone by a Volvo wagon. Is nothing sacred.
Who can see through these little camera viewfinders? Who wouldn't rather have a much bigger view like this? It's the Sure Shot Owl. You're sure to get your shot with the Sure Shot Owl. Try to remember the name from who else? But Cannon.
Every American Standard air conditioner must endure literally hundreds of inspections before being permitted to leave the factory. And if any little thing is less than perfect, well, we have ways of dealing with troublemakers. Built to a higher standard, American Standard air conditioning.
You say your painted wood's looking kind of dirty? Clean it with Armor All Painted Wood Wash. Just spray it on, then rinse away the dirt and mold and mildew stains to make your paint look great again. Armor All Painted Wood Wash.
The new Kawasaki Vulcan 1500 Classic, with the biggest V-twin ever to hit the asphalt. You've never felt anything like it.
Get up to $1,000 cash back or 0 down 9.9% financing through June 30th.
On the Discovery Channel.
I'd like to become the greatest wheel I've ever seen.
You've got to think and do everything to be the best. Some train their entire lives. Others are selected and molded into winners. Drive and commitment, science and culture, training or natural talent. What makes a champion? Across the globe and behind the scenes, find out what it takes to push the limit. Ultimate Athlete. Premiering Sunday at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Going back in the time machine. In 1933, the federal government began clearing land for a massive dam to span the Columbia River in Washington at Grand Coulee. Workers spent 9 years building the dam. When it was finally finished in 1942, The dam's hydroelectric plants generated power that was transmitted throughout the Pacific Northwest. A reservoir behind the dam irrigated 1 million acres of farmland in central Washington. The Grand Coulee Dam is still the largest concrete dam in the world.
Now a tech update, where we briefly look into the future of leading-edge technology. You've probably listened to Muzak while visiting your doctor's office 100 times. And though you might not be thrilled with Doc's music selection, CDs are responsible for a major development in military medicine. On your CD player, information is read by a diode laser. Scientists at Philips Lab joined together hundreds of these diode lasers at 1/100th of a watt of power each, then synchronized the energy to create a high-powered laser in a very small package. This technology has been harnessed into a self-contained laser that's small enough to fit inside a fanny pack. The laser operates on 2 rechargeable batteries that generate between 1 and 10 watts of easily controllable laser power. The laser light transmits through a fiber optic cable. It can be used by a surgeon in the field of battle to do emergency laser surgery, helping wounded soldiers who can't be moved to medical facilities. Fielded in haste during Desert Storm, the German-built Fox is the Army's answer to an NBC, or Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical Reconnaissance Mission. This 6-wheeler weighs in at 19 tons, but has superb maneuverability on land as well as being fully amphibious, capable of taking its crew and equipment into a wide variety of battlefield situations. It also features a positioning navigation system that automatically maintains reference to the vehicle's location at all times. As a reconnaissance vehicle, the Fox serves as the military's sampling platform for chemical and nuclear threats. This ground and air sampling system is integrated with an onboard processor, which allows the Fox, while on the move, to determine the presence of hazardous chemical agents. The NBC filtration systems, combined with ballistic armor protection, enable the crew to observe and manually sample the terrain from safely inside the vehicle. The recently enhanced Fox, developed by General Dynamics, incorporates components from the M1A2 main battle tank. The central data processing unit and the Fox Commander's display have helped to reduce the crew size from 4 to 3 personnel. Along with its mast-mounted standoff chemical agent sensor, which detects airborne contamination, the Fox is in the field and saving lives. When it comes to rain gutters, why is it that so many of us live by the theory that what we can't see won't hurt us? Well, they may seem unimportant, but a clogged-up gutter drain can cause damage to roofs, walls, and shingles. Here's Home Improvement Pro Ron Hazelton to offer some suggestions on how to avoid those problems.
You know, a little bit of preventive maintenance can save a lot of work and money, especially in the long run. And nowhere is that more important than up here at the gutters. Debris in gutters like this can actually clog the downspouts and cause these to fill up with water. Several things can then happen, none of which are very good. If the water spills off the back side of the gutter, it can soak the framing, causing dry rot. If it flows off the front side, it can go right down to the soil next to your foundation, exactly where you don't want it. That can cause foundations to settle and even crack. And a gutter filled with water is very heavy. It can cause the gutter itself to distort or even pull away from the house. So the first thing we want to do in a good gutter maintenance program is to remove the debris. And the best tool to do that with is a putty knife. Just go in here, sort of scrape it out, and then with your hand, lift it out, like this, and throw it away. Now take a look here. You can see these pine needles and leaves are just notorious for clogging up gutters. And you can see it wouldn't take much of this to completely plug the downspout. The next step is to seal all gutter joints. Make sure that they're dry and free from any dirt, and then apply a good quality exterior sealant. Now, it's especially important to do this any place you have end caps or where 2 sections of gutter join each other. Next, we'll want to flush any debris from the downspout with a garden hose. To prevent debris from getting into the downspout in the first place, you might want to consider installing a downspout strainer. Now, these come in plastic and metal versions, all different sizes.
What's important here is you want to select one that will fit your downspout. You might want to even consider one that's flexible or adjustable like this. You simply drop it in to the top of the downspout and push it in place. Perhaps the best preventive measure you can take when it comes to keeping your gutters healthy is to put some kind of mesh on top to keep out leaves, twigs, and other debris. Now this type comes in a roll, usually about 25 feet long, both metal and plastic. Now I find it usually easier to cut this into some kind of manageable lengths. It could be a little bit longer than this. But let me show you how the metal installs first of all. This one goes up underneath the bottom course of shingles. Just put up under here like this. It's best to do this on a warm day so that the shingles are a little bit more pliable. Okay, slip it up under here like this. You can see why you don't want that to be too long. And then what the manufacturer suggests is you kind of form this so that it kind of curves into a gentle arc, and the front edge here tucks behind the lip of the gutter. Now the plastic version generally installs by slipping the back edge into the gutter. Sometimes you've got to cut out and notch it around braces or brackets like this. Again, you roll it up into an arch and then drop the front end, the front edge, once again in behind the lip. And on both of these, you see you're left with a curved surface right here so that any leaves that would fall down wouldn't stay here but would fall off. Now this style mesh may be the easiest of all to install. It's rigid and comes in 3-foot sections. And to put it on, you use these clips, which are supplied with the mesh. They just snap onto the front edge of the gutter like that. And then the edge, the front edge of the mesh itself, slides in there, pushes into place, just like so. Now, the nice thing about this is it sits on top of the shingles, and if you have to take it off for any kind of maintenance, it's easy to do. Your choice of mesh materials probably will come down to cost versus convenience. This is about 4 times as expensive as the roll. But choose the material that's right for your house, and be careful on this ladder. Remember, an afternoon working on your gutters is an afternoon well spent. The importance of proper drainage is not limited to rain gutters and downspouts, especially for those who have a septic system. And if you're one of those who believes that the grass is greener over the septic tank, you really ought to know what's going on down below. Here's how it works.
It's not necessarily a pretty subject, but for those of you non-city dwellers who have your own septic system, this explanation is for you. The most common septic system consists of an underground septic tank, a distribution box, and a leach field, all located 10, 20, and 25 feet from the house respectively. The waste disposal process has 2 steps, beginning with a partial breakdown of solid waste in the tank. As sewage enters the tank, it is broken down by anaerobic bacteria, which is naturally present in the sewage, into 3 components: undigestible particles, which settle as sludge at the bottom, undigestible soap and grease, which rise to the top as surface scum, and a constantly churning liquid effluent of nitrogen-urea-rich gray water. As new sewage enters the tank, the equivalent amount of effluent is forced out into the leach field, where it is absorbed by soil. 60% of it evaporates, and the rest is absorbed by plant roots. The poisonous organic nitrogen and urea components that remain in the leach field are naturally converted into ammonia, nitrites, and nitrates by topsoil bacteria. Plant roots then turn the nitrates into food.
When we come back, our aviation expert Gordon Bowman-Jones is here to show us the latest in radio-controlled airplanes. Stay with us.
On the Discovery Channel.
Roger, we understand.
Next. Weekday waits. Next. Weekday waits. 6 Eastern, 5 Central. On the Discovery Channel.
It's a trip to paradise, and this man has lost his vacation money. And so has he. This man was carrying cash. But he insisted on American Express traveler's checks. So while he had nobody to turn to, this man called the people at American Express as he tried to contact someone back home. With just one phone call, American Express can refund your lost or stolen traveler's checks just about any time, any place. Don't take chances. Take American Express traveler's checks.
Tired of annoying nicks and scratches? Can't afford hundreds of dollars for car paint repairs? Convinced you can't fix it?
Get professional results easily with the Flawless Paint Repair Kit, new from Duplicolor, the leading supplier of exact match touch-up paint.
It's so easy. All I did was follow a few simple steps and look at the results.
Call and order Flawless for only $19.95 and get a perfect match guaranteed. Flawless includes everything you need to get professional results on dozens of repairs. The Ultra Touch Prep Tool, Special Anti-Rust Primer, Exact Match Paint, Clear Coat, Super 2000 Smoothing Pad, Polishing Compounded Pad guaranteed to make all your nicks and scratches disappear, and easy-to-follow instructions. Flawless will make your car look like new, and you're guaranteed professional results or your money back.
You have to see it to believe it.
Call 1-800-797-4646 now for the Flawless Paint Repair Kit from Duplicolor for only $19.95 plus shipping and handling, or send check or money order to the address on your screen. Call and order now, 1-800-797-4646.
Tonight on Wild Discovery. What you didn't expect. Take a bite out of this. Watch out. Cute and furry snake killers. African animals on Wild Discovery. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on the Discovery Channel.
Any plane you fly has to stand up to your toughest demands and Mother Nature's, even if the plane stands only a foot high. Gordon Bowman-Jones is joining us here in the studio, and Gordon, we're talking about radio-controlled planes, and the truth is these things can operate almost as realistically as the real thing, right?
This is just about an absolute copy of the real thing, Ted. The Red Star tells it all. The original was made in Moscow, just outside of Russia. It was built to be an ultimate aerobatic aircraft. John Piggott is the owner of this original of this aircraft.
This is the Sukhoi?
This is the Sukhoi Su-29, right.
Now, the real plane does what? What's it noted for?
It's noted for unlimited aerobatics. Basically, anything you can do in the air, you can do in this airplane.
Now, there have been other planes that have been based on the real thing that are radio-controlled planes. One is the Raven we want to talk about. What makes the Raven special in real life?
Wayne Handley designed the Raven. He adapted it from another aircraft that he originally had. It's converted into a two-place airplane, and it's, again, an unlimited aircraft. There we are joining Wayne in Wayne's World, which is about 3,000 feet all the way down to the deck.
And just a little scary.
Just a little scary, absolutely.
Now, the Raven has also been, like the Sukhoi, has been made into a kit plane.
That's
radio-controlled plane, and we have an example of one here. What can the kit plane do that makes it somewhat similar to the real thing?
The kit plane really can duplicate all the flight maneuvers of the real thing. The only thing that's a lot different is the price. You know, the Sukhoi, for example, the original is about $240. The kit, or the original aircraft, about $240,000, and the same sort of scale here with Wayne Handley's Raven.
Now, somewhat similar to other kit planes, and it's true of the Raven, we've got the controls here. This is quite a little gizmo. This will operate this is your cockpit right here,
That's it, right there. That puts you right there in the cockpit and allows you to fly.
As you can turned on, and this operates some of the ailerons. And what am I doing right now?
Very good. He did 2 octaflugerons and 1 snap roll.
Has it gone into the ground yet?
Not yet, but you're getting there.
Now, there are other kit planes that people can buy. These are just 2 examples we've looked at, the Sukhoi and the Raven. What would be some other examples of kit planes?
Well, there's the Cutlass Jet Fighter you're looking at here. That's about $35. The Great Lakes Biplane, a little more detailed, about $150. The Messerschmitt ME-109 that you're looking at here, about $75. All of these airplanes are from Hobby Shack in L.A., but they're representative of the type of aircraft you can get at hobby shops all around the country.
And price ranges?
Price ranges, you can go all the way, as you see, the Cutlass down there, about $35. Control-lined aircraft way down there. Once you start getting up into the radio-controlled models, you're looking at a total cost of about $500 to $600 to put yourself into that basic model.
Still a whole lot cheaper than the real thing.
Absolutely,
We'll talk in a moment about trying to put one of these together, but in terms of learning how to fly one, what's challenging about it, and is there any way for somebody short of going to flight school to learn how to fly an RC plane?
That usually is the best way to do it, actually go to a flight school. The American Modelers Association, there are modeling clubs all over the country, and you contact any one of those, they'll be pleased to put someone out there to help you to make sure that you don't turn your first kit back into kit form instantly.
Flight schools have been around forever. Computers haven't, but with the advent of computers, you can actually buy some software and hardware that will help you learn how to fly an RC plane, right?
Exactly. This hooks right into your PC. This is Dave Brown's Products PC Simulator. And what this does is allows you to fly your model airplane or model helicopter right on your PC. And if you do crash it, it tells you how much it's going to cost you to fix it.
That'll make you think twice before you go out and buy it, though. All right, let's talk, Gordon, a little bit about how to put one of these things together. We're not actually going to do it, but let's give some people some reference for how to start out if they've never done this before. There is a real starter kit, isn't there?
Absolutely, yes. This is very typical of the type of starter kit that one would expect to go into the air with for the first time. This is a Wright Flyer 40T, and it basically comes exactly the same way you see it here. The wings, the tail section, the vertical stabilizer, and this all can be assembled in about a half a day.
Now, the box claims that this is almost ready to fly.
That's exactly right.
I don't know how almost it looks to me here, but...
About a half a day will do it. Some small hand tools. You need a drill, a couple of screwdrivers, and a wrench, and you're in the air.
Now, if this should hit the ground, this is meant to come apart and go back together, right?
That's the one big thing about this. It is designed to disassemble itself with the least amount of pain if it does hit the ground.
So that makes it doubly good for a starter.
Exactly.
Now, what's the toughest move to make when you're flying one of these planes? You've got the controls in your hand. Is there one move with a radio-controlled plane that's most challenging of all?
Ted, you haven't known real fear until you've got a 20-pound model aircraft coming directly toward you and the controls are all reversed.
And so that's it, huh? Coming toward you, that's the tough one.
Exactly. Everything turns itself around backward. Everything's fine when it's going the same way you want it to go, but as soon as it turns around and starts coming toward you, all of a sudden, the world turns to mush.
So, 2 words of wisdom: go to a flight school, buy the flight simulator, and start with a starter kit before you really earn your wings.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much, Gordon.
Thank you, Ted.
You know, these planes are truly remarkable for their detail, and when we return, Paul Zangari will be adding some detailing to spiff up a plain old car fender. Then later, the workhorse of America's airborne fleet, the B-52. Stay with us.
This program is brought to you in part by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running.
You can just pick up a Napa part and feel the quality. When you look at the price, it feels even better.
Pick up your share of quality products at Napa's Red, White, and Blue sale. With Autolite resistor spark plugs only 69 cents after rebate. An Evercraft 25-piece toolkit just $15.99. And STP products free after bonus rebates. So come, save some green at Napa's Red, White, and Blue sale.
America running.
The Land Rover Discovery has long conquered rocks, ravines, and assorted jungles. Now we've taken on yet another automotive obstacle, the lease. For a limited time, the Discovery's no-obstacle lease comes with no charge for factory-scheduled maintenance and no security deposit. It even comes with a 36-month, 42,000-mile new vehicle limited warranty. As usual, nothing overcomes hurdles like a Land Rover Discovery.
Some people clean their dentures in the daytime, but if you soak at night, get new Polident overnight. Its unique enzyme formula cleans and whitens better than daytime soak. New Polident overnight, next to fast-acting 5-minute Polident. My owner works, and we leave the house at 7 in the morning and rarely get home before 5, and that's not sitting in parking lots. That's on the road, chugging and jiving and picking up the kids. And we drop things off, and thankfully, we use Chevron with Techron. It helps keep my intake valves clean and my emissions low. In car talk, that's big stuff.
No gasoline cleans your engine better than Chevron with Techron. Chevron, simply smarter.
How much closer are our precision heads? Our innovative lift and cup system? How much better is the latest Norelco? In a word, we've never brought you closer. The Norelco Razor, our closest shave ever.
Sunday night on the Discovery Channel. Is this pig's breath a sexual turn-on? Has this man created a roadmap for the perfect face? And can this guy make you irresistible? Explore what really appeals to the opposite sex. The answers may be right under your nose as scientists take a serious look at the science of sex on Discover Magazine. Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.
Supermarkets come and go, but Nemmens has been in the community for over 75 years. People have grown to trust Nemmens in every function of supermarketing. Nemmens has a floral department unlike any supermarket in town. Carrying the FTD trademark, our arrangements are truly outstanding. A deli department offering specialty items for all occasions. And a bakery created with an old world approach, offering daily in-store baking from scratch, where quality and freshness always come first.
Get ready.
Let's go.
This June, Cinemax kicks into action.
This is great.
With frisky adventures.
A one-way ticket to Never Never Land.
And suspense-filled dramas. The timeless classics you dream about.
I'm yours to command at all things.
And laughs that'll knock you over. Plus, a new premiere every Friday night.
Welcome.
So get ready for Cinemax in June. The summer of 1,000 movies starts here.
Here at the Popular Mechanics Show, we'll never leave you up the creek without a paddle. And you should never get caught up the bike trail without a saddle. Bad, that is. Here's a checklist of what every rider should bring along for the road. One of the nice things about bikes is that they're relatively simple machines. And if you carry along a fairly simple kit, you can fix almost any problem that comes up. Here to help us out is Marianne Macius, Master Technician from REI.
Some of the tools that you're going to be carrying with you on the trail so that you can fix pretty much any repair while you're out there, you're going to contain in the saddlebag that'll be on your bike. Some of those things that are going to go inside will be a compact-style tool. These tools have multi-function. They may have Allen keys on them of multiple sizes. They'll also have possibly Phillips head screwdrivers. This one happens to have a crescent wrench on it and a chain tool. Other ones have socket wrenches on them, and they're actually quite nice because that's something that you can work on your derailleurs with. So you can carry one or two of these types of tools, and they actually work quite well. If you have one that doesn't have sockets, make sure that you do carry the appropriate wrenches so that you can work on your derailleurs as you go. Another thing that you'd want to carry is a multi-spoke wrench. A spoke wrench will help you adjust your truing of your wheels, so in case you do have a problem out there, you can at least manipulate it enough so you can get back home. Some of the things you'll also need, very common, will be for fixing flats, repairing flats. Most common thing you should carry is an additional inner tube, a brand new inner tube that's the size of your wheel. From there, you'll also need tire levers, so you can pry the tire bead up and off the rim, and you can also put it back on. You'll also need at that point patch kits, whether they're a gluable patch or whether they're the glueless patch kits. The glueless ones are nice because you don't have as long a drying time. They're quite nice. Pumps, so you can reinflate, are also crucial, as well as possibly a CO2 cartridge if you don't have a pump. It's usually a one-shot deal. You do need to take home the metal cylinder to dispose of appropriately, so make sure that you do that. Other things that I would carry with me are a power bar, some type of energy fuel bar. There's many on the market out there today. It's very important that you carry additional fuel with you. And when you carry your tube, a nice way to carry that is in a plastic bag so that the saddlebag doesn't adhere or rub a hole inside the tube itself with a little bit of talcum powder. Talcum powder will make it a slicker entry into the tire, and at that point you'll have less friction and will decrease your chance of having a pinch flat. The most important thing as well is to carry some money with you, carry a quarter a couple times, or remember what your phone card number is so that in case you really are stuck, you can call someone as a last resort and get yourself home.
Regardless of how clean and shiny your car is when you drive it off the lot, it's dangerous out there on the road. And over time, your gleaming finish can look, well, less than perfect. But dings and zits and scuffs can be treated. Our own automotive dermatologist, Paul Zangari, is here. And, Paul, this poor car's breaking out all over, isn't it?
Dermatologist, yeah. This is a result of 95,000 miles of driving, and you get stone chips, and some of them actually go through. This one went down to the metal, and it was rusting a little bit.
Not good.
No, it's not. So to keep it from spreading, the first thing I did was I took a chemical rust remover. I just dabbed it on with some cotton. I wore some gloves and goggles just to be on the safe side because it was a chemical. Once it had gotten through to the metal, I just used a wet sponge to get the chemical out and dried it.
So that's your priming.
That's my primer. Well, then I primed it with a rust
Now
primer.
your primer.
Okay. And I used the technique I'm about to use with the color. What I did was I shook up the can of paint, and I took off the lid. And from the bottom of the lid, there's enough paint. And this paint, by the way, is enamel that matches the color of this car. This car was painted by the factory with enamel. And you see this? This is just a matchstick torn right out of a matchbook. And it allows me to just dab the paint right in the area.
Paul, that's the most unusual paintbrush I've ever seen.
Well, it's not only low cost, but it gives you pretty good direction with the paint.
Now, a spray can is not for you, huh?
No, you see, the spray can covers a lot more area than just the mark itself. This way it's confined just to where the problem is.
so it's less likely to call attention to itself.
That's a great idea, and you'll just leave that to dry.
That'll dry, and it should be just fine.
And this car is one less zit.
One less, and we can touch up the other ones, too, if we want to.
Yeah, now it's ready to be seen with other cars on a Saturday night.
That's right. No more chocolate for it, either.
Now, what's the deal with this car? I don't see any big dings, dents, zits, or anything.
No, this car's main problem was it was just a little on the blah-looking side. It was the plain model, wanted to dress it up some.
So this is a car makeover?
That's right. Pinstripes is what we decided upon to make it look a little bit better. Now, I started in the left front corner of the car, and I decided that I'd like the stripe to go all the way around the car.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will stripe one side, then the other, and decide they want to connect them across the trunk, but because they don't wind up at the same height, they wind up doing a crooked line across the trunk to join the two sides.
So do it all as one
I wrapped all the way around. That's right. Now, the stuff that I used is this striping tape, and I'll do just this front fender to show you how it's done.
Now, this you just buy at any automotive store.
Right, and this cost about $15 for this roll, which can do 3 cars.
You're in the car business. What do they charge you to do this if you take it into the shop?
Well, I've seen some people go as high as $100. Which,
come on.
Yeah, come on is right. I've done cars in 20 minutes. So I take it, and you notice how I just sort of measured the length of the fender.
Yeah.
I gave myself some excess, and I break it off. Just break it like that. And what I've been using, you see how this car has this crease in the body?
You're going to use that as your level, huh?
Exactly, because we're talking about something here that doesn't have any function other than to look good. So if you like the way it looks, that's what matters. Now, before I started doing this, I washed the area that I was going to do with a wax remover because this won't stay adhered otherwise. Now, I just continue from where I was, right across the door. You can leave that hanging out, and then just pull it out pretty much to the length of the fender. All right, and keep it off the fender and just sort of eyeball and place it where you want it.
Right?
Exactly, and if you like where it is, then you can press it down. If you don't like where it is, you can still pick it up and reposition.
We like where it is.
I think it's all right there. So now what I'm doing is making the cut at the front.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get a little fancy here. I just put the razor blade up against it and then pull. And you see how it broke right there?
Very nice.
Now the next thing I'm going to do is go back to the door right behind you, Ted.
Because otherwise it's going to be tough to open.
Yeah, exactly. Or you'll just wreck the stripe. Pull off that excess piece that I used to line it up. Now I'll wrap this on the inside, and I have to pull out this clear covering that's on it.
Why's that?
Well, it's not supposed to remain there. It's just something that carries it onto the car, and once it's there, by the way, I'll take it off the front because it doesn't want to cooperate where it's wrapped around the door. But I'll just peel it off, and now I'm down to just the stripe and the metal. And I want to do something a little fancy on the front here. I always admired those classic Packards, and I'm going to give this a little bit of the look of a Packard. I'm going to peel off this piece from the bottom.
So this is not something the average person would do when they put on this?
Oh, they might just bring the two ends together. That's the most common way of dealing with it.
Okay, so don't necessarily try this at home.
Yeah, but you can if you want to experiment a little bit. I mean, you can't really harm the car's finish. You just put the razor blade up against the car, but you don't push it into the paint.
Yeah.
And then take a piece that you've pre-cut. I'm using the thin line here. And get that off my finger there. And now we'll put this in a point. See, the stuff is resilient until it's had a chance to set there on the car. And I'm following the line of the parking light, and it actually kind of matches the Packard pattern. So now I'll put that there.
Have to look up, too.
Well, unless you are a fan of classic cars and you know the look. So now we'll pull this piece off the top. Okay, come up to the blade and it stops. Pull the covering off it. And you see, you can actually make the stuff go around corners. Now, we'll take the last piece, take it off the paper backing.
This is why it would cost $100, Paul.
Yeah, but you see how long this is taking? Okay, it's off the backing. Put it on. And see, I'm curving it to come down and match. And it looks like the filigree that they had on the fenders of the old Packards. I'll just trim it like this. And once I've pulled the backing off, it's done. I shouldn't call it backing. I suppose I should call it film, since that paper is the backing. But, fini.
You're an artist.
Hey.
That's a very nice job.
Thank you.
Not something I'm going to attempt.
Well, you
But
don't
very
have
nice,
to, but
nonetheless.
Hey, you know, you can try it, Ted, because it costs so little, And if you mess up, you can peel it off. Once it's been on there overnight, though, forget it. It's there for quite a while.
Very nice. So you can spruce up a boring car?
Absolutely.
Boring people are another matter.
True.
Thanks, Paul. When the Popular Mechanics Show returns, it bombs away with the workhorse of America's airborne arsenal, the B-52. And that could really ruin a car's finish. Stay tuned.
The new Kawasaki Vulcan 1500 Classic, with the biggest V-twin ever to hit the asphalt. You've never felt anything like it.
Get up to $1,000 cash back or zero down 9.9% financing through June 30th.
It's a trip to paradise, and this man has lost his vacation money. And so has he. This man was carrying cash. But he insisted on American Express traveler's checks. So while he had nobody to turn to, this man called the people at American Express as he tried to contact someone back home. With just one phone call, American Express can refund your lost or stolen traveler's checks just about any time, any place. Don't take chances. Take American Express traveler's checks.
Introducing Animal Planet, the new channel from the people who bring you Discovery Channel and the Learning Channel. If you want all animals all the time, call your cable or satellite company and ask for Animal Planet.
On the Discovery Channel.
Roger, we understand.
Next. Weekday waits. Next. Weekday waits. 6 Eastern, 5 Central. On the Discovery Channel.
It's over 40 years old, can fly at near the speed of sound at 50,000 feet, and can monitor over 140,000 square miles of ocean surface in less than 2 hours. It's the B-52 Stratofortress, and it remains a fixture in today's Air Force. Among the many images burnt into the American consciousness during the Vietnam War was this. Mammoth bombers raining destruction over vast swaths of land. Flying high above the jungles of Vietnam more than 20 years ago, the B-52 bomber provided support to American soldiers on the ground. While the first developmental B-52 bomber was unveiled in August 1954, today's modern fleet of so-called Stratofortresses remain a powerful component of the United States military force.
The B-52s have been continuously upgraded since they were initially introduced into service. They have better engines, they have vastly superior avionics, in some cases structural members have been replaced, and they have improved computers and targeting systems.
With 8 Pratt & Whitney TF-33-P-3 turbofan engines, each capable of delivering 17,000 pounds of thrust, today's B-52s have an unrefueled range of over 8,800 miles. That's almost halfway around the Earth. With aerial refueling, the range of the B-52 is limited only by the endurance of its 5-person crew. Built to fly at 650 miles per hour at a maximum altitude of 50,000 feet, the current fleet of B-52s can carry almost 70,000 pounds of armaments. B-52s can also fly low, equipped with electro-optical viewing systems that use forward-looking infrared and low-light level television sensors. B-52s can approach their targets while flying at only 200 feet and deliver a wide variety of munitions.
Today, the B-52 is the most flexible weapons delivery system that the United States Air Force flies. It's capable of delivering virtually every type of conventional and air-launched nuclear munition in America's inventory.
the Persian Gulf War in 1991, B-52s were the first aircraft to strike Iraqi forces on the first day of the war. 7 B-52s flew over 14,000 miles non-stop round trip from the United States. They delivered 35 conventional air-launched cruise missiles against Iraqi military communication sites and power generation and transmission facilities. All in all, B-52s dropped approximately one-third of the total tonnage of bombs delivered by U.S. forces during Operation Desert Storm.
The B-52 continues to be the mainstay of America's conventional bombing force, and according to the Air Force, these aircraft are going to remain in service for at least another 3 to 4 decades.
B-52s, while they first began flying in the 1950s, they're as capable as ever in the 1990s and beyond.
We should all be as capable at 40. That's all the time we have for this edition of the Popular Mechanics Show. I'm Ted Reinstein. We'll see you next time.
Coming up next, go on a grueling 12-hour bombing mission to Iraq on wings. Then see how robots can help tennis players improve their game on Beyond 2000. Only on the Discovery Channel. Explore your world.